my saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches.
I've been fortunate enough to sit there and hear those conversations on a private plane with MJ, Tiger, Gretzky, Jeter. They are so freaking competitive. That's the one thing they all have in common.
What would they say mental disorders they have?
They'd have to come up with something new.
If Mike's sitting right here and we ask Kobe, what's the definition of success? What would you say their answers would be?
Kobe said, winning is everything. Talk to Mike. Whatever Kobe would say, Mike would have to one-up him.
Why don't most people subscribe to wanting to find out what their capacity looks like and go at the highest level?
Because it's just too hard. If it was that easy, everybody'd be doing it.
You've trained the best of the best in the game of basketball. You said Kobe worked harder, but Jordan worked smarter. What are those signs that he said? There's a very distinct difference between this guy and that guy.
With Kobe, I saw it very early against Utah when he shot all those air balls. For most individuals, that would have just totally killed their confidence. No, he came back and owned what he did. I'm coming back for more.
Were both guys that trusted easily?
No, they did not trust easily. I had to work harder than they did. I tell the story about early down in the MJ days. There was no Fitbit. There was none of this information available.
Did you ever fire a client?
I've returned more money than I've actually kept. I had one individual right in the middle of the game. I told one of my sisters to grab my checkbook. I wrote my check. I said, here, get out. We're in a society now where sleep deprivation is like a sign of success.
Is the reward worth it?
Winning is everything. Winning is not about the trophy and the accolades. It's about the grind. It's about the obstacles. It's about the challenges. It's about the pain that you endure along the way.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're joined by longtime client Gabe Salinas of WindowNinjas.com. I'm going to pull up the website there, WindowNinjas.com. Someone says, what's that website? WindowNinjas.com. Somebody says, what do they do? They have a window cleaning company, both commercial and residential. Somebody says, what's that website again? WindowNinjas.com. Somebody else says, well, how many locations do they have? Gabe Salinas, how many locations of WindowNinjas.com do you now have open, sir?
We have 10 locations right now open.
10 locations, and you're franchising, the business is moving. What I wanted to tap into your wisdom on today, I'm going to pull up a quote from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs talks about there's a range between A players and B players. He talks about this range, about how a small team, he says, Steve Jobs says there's a small team of A players. What Steve Jobs says, a small team of A players has the ability to essentially do more work than an entire team of B and C players. Steve Jobs once said, this is a Steve Jobs quote here. Let me find it for you, folks. Again, this is Steve Jobs. This is the guy who built Apple. This is a guy who built, he turned Pixar around. Pixar was failing. He introduced the iPhone, the iPod, the iPad, Steve Jobs. He says, a small team of A players can run circles around a giant team of B and C players. And so I want to play this little clip here, Gabe. This is a client we've had the opportunity to work with for about 7 months. And this gentleman by the name of Thomas Thill, he's increased the amount of leads he's getting by 24 times in the auto detailing space. So he does, in the way that you do window cleaning, he does cleaning for high-end like Lamborghinis, Porsches, auto detailing. And he's increased the number of leads he's getting, folks, by 24 times in a total of 6 months. Here we go, folks. When we first started with you on a weekly basis, how many leads were you getting from Google and how many are you getting now?
I was at 0, didn't even have a website. And last week we got 24. And yesterday alone, I booked 4 jobs from Google, just yesterday alone.
How much has it helped you to just have a three-legged marketing stool that you know is going to work?
It's like having a salesman that's working for me 24/7. It's amazing. Like, getting these leads in from Google because of the work that we're putting in on the back end that's just it. It's like having a salesman that's working 24/7, getting phone calls at 8 o'clock at night, getting people that book with me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I love it. And it's made it to where I no longer have to stress about getting my next job, because before I was 100% word of mouth. And before it was like I would book a job and then I'd be halfway through it and I would be praying that I would have another job after that. So this is just like having a salesman working for me all the time. You hear the word coach. And I used to think that having a business coach was like, you see on social media the guy who rents a supercar and he stands next to it and he's talking about his business coaching service and he's never owned a business. And I used to think that that's how they all were. And I was so wrong. It's literally like having someone in the back seat of my car that's constantly clapping for me, that's cheering me on, that's saying, hey, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get this? And I'm to a point now, like yesterday, this I had this conversation with Avery, my fiance. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of work that I have coming in that I now have to get more structured with how I schedule my work. And that
Now, Gabe, we've had the honor of working with you for a long time, and you are certainly an A player. You're a diligent doer. And this young man, he reached out to us and he says, look, I own my own company and I need someone to push me and hold me accountable. And he is now 24 times more leads are coming in. How is that possible, Gabe, for somebody to just turn it on like that?
Well, once you start following a system, something that's been proven, I mean, it makes it really easy, right? You don't know what you don't know. So when you utilize a service like yours, where you have business coaching, mentorship, things of that nature, if you follow that guidance, then magically all of these new leads start coming in, your business starts to grow, your frustrations tend to go away, and you have a much better life and a much more profitable business because you actually create the business as opposed to having what I would say is more of kind of like a job. A lot of businesses but business owners are just like job owners. They basically have just traded their time from one business that they were working for into their own personal thing, but they're not following all those proven systems. So therefore, they basically just started a job for themselves, and it's mind numbing.
Now, and I'm going to pull this up here because I found we had Robert Kiyosaki on the show. Let me pull up Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, we've had him on the show multiple times. He recently spoke at our in-person workshop, and he says over and over, he tells people, Robert Kiyosaki, this is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He tells people, look, I have somebody in my life that pushes me in the areas I want to be successful.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever was important. My rich dad was one of those persons. I wanted to learn how to play Monopoly in real life. So he was my coach.
Well, Carter, we have a closet right there. So you think about, like a guy like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant hired the same strength trainer that Michael Jordan hired. Both of them hired Tim Grover, and both of them were saying, Kobe saw the physical success, the success, the manifestation, the wins of Michael Jordan, and he thought, you know what, I want to be that successful. So he asked Michael, "Who was your trainer? Who trained you?" And Michael said, "Oh, it's Tim Grover." And so Tim Grover worked with both Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Now, both Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they're no stranger to the weight room. They're no stranger to working out. But both of them said they needed a coach, and a coach that was willing to push them hard. I think that's a powerful thing. I want to ask you this because you're a guy we've had the opportunity to coach with and work with over these last few years, really helping you grow Window Ninjas over the past 5 years. Why is it that super successful people lean into and pursue a coach and unsuccessful people hide from them?
Well, I always start with accountability. Most people who have never really played sports, really got into athletics as a youth, or maybe didn't play in high school or college, those kind of things, man, they don't comprehend the power of a coach. I remember growing up playing football. I always had a quarterback coach. We always had a head coach. We had our offensive line coach. We had a defensive coach. And I was the one that had to be coached by the quarterback coach. And if I didn't have that particular person showing me how to properly throw the ball, how to properly understand plays, how to properly understand the other team's defense that they're throwing at me, then I would have never been able to be successful at playing the game of football. And business is no different. I don't know why people who get into business think they can just simply go at it alone and not utilize whether it's a coach or even like a franchise system with what we're doing. I mean, part of buying a franchise is you get the CEO, the CFO, the COO, you purchase those guys. And in a good system is going to have those three people be coaches for you. They're going to show you the right way to do it. They're going to show you how to handle your finances. They're going to show you how to do marketing. I mean, and it's better to have somebody by your side coaching you, mentoring you, as well as encouraging you and being your cheerleader as well. And a good coach will do that. So Clay, honestly, I don't understand why a lot of businesses don't utilize coaching systems. You can never have too many, right? I mean, you can have multiple if you want. You can just go to with one, but you got to find somebody that has already understood the road that you're traveling on because they've already been there, they've done that, they've already found the potholes that are in the road, they figured out what the roadblocks were, and they figured out how to get over all of those hurdles so that you don't have to go through all of that, those hardships and those heartaches, and spend a lot of money going through all of it. If you have a coach, it just makes a whole lot more sense than trying to go at it alone. And same thing with a franchise. If you buy a franchise system, hey man, they've already got the proven system. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're going to be able to scale your business faster. And at the end of the day, the cost that you spend on a coach or a franchise system is way less than what you're going to spend trying to go at it alone and going through all those mistakes and spending all that time and that money just trying to figure out the right way to do it.
Now, having worked with you over these past 4 or 5 years, I've seen the success. I've seen you diligently make a checklist for everything. I've seen you refine every aspect of your marketing. So if anybody out there is looking to buy a windowninjas.com franchise, you're getting turnkey marketing, then you're getting turnkey training on how to deliver the results, then you're getting a turnkey approach to how to manage your finances and a team. Talk about the level of support that you supply your franchisees there at windowninjas.com.
Man, I'm glad you started with checklists, Clay, because to be honest with you, I mean, it seems like the checklists are never, ever ending. And that's one of the things that what we do over here at Window Ninjas is we're always improving. We've built the checklist. We've built every single system. And you know what? Sometimes those systems need to be refined. And when we find that something is a little off, we can then rework it, tweak it quickly, efficiently, and then rebuild that checklist so that we know how to overcome that one little tweak that needed to be made. And that's one of the benefits of having a franchise system and being able to offer it to a lot of the people who are looking into purchasing with us. We've got the checklist from the service side. We've got the checklist from the marketing side. We've got the checklist from the financial side. You know, if you've never run a company and you've never made payroll, I don't know about you, Clay, but I sure don't want to do that without anybody's help, right? Because that's a good way to get yourself locked up by the government if you don't pay your payroll taxes and things of that nature. So you better have a checklist for that. And the same thing goes with marketing. I mean, if you don't know how to do marketing, if you don't understand how Google works, if you don't understand how Facebook ads work and all of those other kind of advertisements, man, you're going to waste a lot of time, energy, and money not getting leads, but spending a lot of money on a marketing company that is there to earn money. They don't really care if you're going to earn leads. They just want to earn money for themselves. So having somebody like yourself who's a mentor, you're a coach, you teach your clients all of those proven systems, how to do it. It's the same thing over here on our side over at Window Ninjas with our franchise, man. I'm super pumped about it because, man, whenever somebody comes into us and says, hey, man, I'm interested, what do you offer? Man, I love to go back to those checklists, the marketing systems, the accounting systems, the service systems, all of the different systems that we have over here at Window Ninjas. We can then offer it to them. They see it. They tangibly can see it because they can see it in our operations. They can see it in our call center. They see it the way our guys come into to their office in the mornings, the service technicians who are getting their trucks ready and getting ready to go out there and do the actual physical work. They can see all of these different parts of the business working together as a whole and as a team. And man, they watch our fleets go out, and then they watch the fleets come in. They see the accounting team get the revenue in. They're sitting there making sure that all the invoices are paid. I mean, and the call center agents are always doing their job. They're following their checklist. They're marking off jobs that needed to be connected with. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing how many different systems go on in a business. And if you've never ever owned a business before and you try to go at it alone, man, it's tough.
Now, for people out there that are saying, wow, what's the first step I need to take if I'm interested in buying a WindowNinjas.com franchise? Walk our listeners through here in the final 60 seconds we have you. How much money does it cost? And what are the next steps that people need to take if they want to learn more about buying a WindowNinjas.com franchise?
Well, very first step, Clay, is commit. You got to make a commitment. You got to make a commitment to yourself. You got to make a commitment to your family. And you got to commit to getting better. And the best way you can get better is to pick up that phone and say, hey, Gabe, how can you help me? Call our office over here at Window Ninjas. Reach out via email. You can even send me a carrier pigeon, man. I don't care. Just as long as you get in touch with us, we are good. But we will then have a conversation with you about what the costs are. You know, franchise fees are right around $60,000. You've got to buy your equipment. You got to have some money put aside for marketing. You've got to have a little bit of kitty there so that you can get through your first month or two. But we show you exactly how much how you're going to take that money that you're going to spend with us and how we're going to turn that into $1 million empire for you. So the best thing you can do is just give us a call. Let's start a conversation. Let's figure out where you're at, figure out what your goals are, what do you value, how we can help you. And then let's start a partnership so that we can both grow together and both equally be successful.
Gabe, I could not be more fired up about WindowNinjas.com. You guys are a great brand. You're continuing to move in the right direction. I encourage everybody, go to WindowNinjas.com. That website, I'll pull it up again there, folks. That's WindowNinjas.com. Somebody says, well, what's that website again? It's WindowNinjas.com. If you don't hate yourself and you're looking for a way to achieve financial freedom and time freedom, go to WindowNinjas.com. And maybe you do hate yourself because you haven't yet achieved financial freedom. Go to WindowNinjas.com. Gabe Salinas, thank you so much for carving out time, sir, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Clay. Have a great day, bud.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye. When we first started with you on a weekly basis, how many leads were you getting from Google and how many are you getting now?
I was at 0, didn't even have a website. And last week we got 24. And yesterday alone, I booked 4 jobs from Google, just yesterday alone.
How much has it helped you to just have a three-legged marketing stool that you know is going to work?
It's like having a salesman that's working for me 24/7. It's amazing. Like getting these leads in from Google because of the work that we're putting in on the back end that's just it. It's like having a salesman that's working 24/7, getting phone calls at 8 o'clock at night, getting people that book with me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I love it. And it's made it to where I no longer have to stress about getting my next job, because before I was 100% word of mouth. And before it was like I would book a job and then I'd be halfway through it and I would be praying that I would have another job after that. So this is just like having a salesman working for me all the time. You hear the word coach. And I used to think that having a business coach was like, you see on social media, the guy who rents a supercar and he stands next to it and he's talking about his business coaching service and he's never owned a business. And I used to think that that's how they all were. And I was so wrong. It's literally like having someone in the back seat of my car that's constantly clapping for me, that's cheering me on, that's saying, hey, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get this? And I'm to a point now, like yesterday, I had this conversation with Avery, my fiance. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of work that I have coming in that I now have to get more structured with how I schedule my work. And that's something that 7-8 months ago, I didn't have that problem. 7-8 months ago, I had to figure out how I was going to find my next job. So this has gone so fast, and I cannot wait to see where this goes in the next year, 2-3 years. You are a partner for life with me and with Avery. Like, we're going to go through any business we ever start. You've proven to me that you're the master.
Okay, folks, this show right here is a show that everybody needs to watch. So if you're an entrepreneur and you feel like you're going through hell, the pro tip is don't stop. There's this thing called the messy middle, which is it's kind of the difference between once you set the big goal and you achieve it. There's this thing called the messy middle. Once you set a big goal and you decide to go from where you are to where you want to be, there's this thing called the messy middle. And today's client is sprinting through the messy middle. He's having massive success. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think when we first met, I think he was having very little or zero leads from Google. And I think last week, I'm looking at his tracking sheet, I think he received 24 internet leads just this past week. So from maybe 0 leads a week to 24 leads a week, he's really heating up. He's building massive success. Thomas Thill, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Oh, thank you so much, Clay. I'm doing amazing. I'm just enjoying this new life of getting all these Google leads. It's awesome.
Well, let me pull this up real quick because I want to verify that you are not a hologram or a male model, both of which you could be. So here we go. First off, this is your website. It's bespokerefinement.com. So tell us about your company, bespokerefinement.com. What is Bespoke Refinement? What is Bespoke? Just walk us through. What is it that you do at bespokerefinement.com?
So Bespoke Refinement, I started out as a car detailer when I was 14 years old, and I got into what's called paint correction, which is perfecting new and used paint jobs. So cars that have, imperfections in their paint, primarily exotic cars like Lamborghinis, Ferraris. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And we realized that there is a need for people to have their cars detailed, right? So, paint correction is like a one-time thing, but having your cars repetitively detailed is something that everyone needs, right? Everyone uses a car and everyone has a car that gets dirty. So Bespoke Refinement, the name came from bespoke, meaning one-off. We do curated detail jobs for specific customers who have, let's say you have a stain in your seat, but you don't want the entire car detailed. We'll come and we'll take care of the one stain. Or if you have a scratch and you don't want your interior washed, we'll come out and we'll take care of the scratch. So that's what we do, but we've gotten ourselves into this niche of working on high-end cars, working on Range Rovers, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. And now with all the Google leads, I'm doing everything. I'm doing minivans, I'm doing Ford Transit vans, we're doing everything. So
now I'm going to take some notes here, and I'm going to pull this up. And if it ever feels like I'm taking notes and watching a movie over here, I'm not. I'm just taking detailed notes while organizing everything we're going to go over on today's show with the limited time we have you here. Again, bespokerefinement.com. You're doing the interview today from an actual vehicle, and this is not a backhanded compliment. It's because you are literally on the grind all the time. You did not call me and say, "Hey, could you put me on your show and hype up my business?" I called you and I said, "Brother, you have a 24 times increase in the amount of online leads you're getting. There's somebody that needs to hear this show." So let's go through the steps real quick here. For any client that we work with, we guide clients through these steps, which you can follow along, folks. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com/free-resources.com. Somebody's driving right now on a motorcycle, asking me to repeat that. That's thrivetimeshow.com/free resources. Somebody says, "I'm on a skateboard while taking notes with a marker." Okay, that's thrivetimeshow.com/free resources. You can download the books for free. You can follow along. We're going from a book called The Millionaire's Guide, which is a book that I wrote many years ago, and it's all about teaching you how to build a sustainably successful company. So if you're out there today and you're trying to build a sustainably successful company, you can download for free A Millionaire's Guide. And if you do download that book, you go to page 5, and let's talk about it here step by step. So one, Thomas, you know where you want to go. I'm not fishing for the specific numbers, but why is it important for you and your soon-to-be wife to be on the same page about your revenue goals?
Because we both have the same life goals. We both want to have the same things. We both want to have financial freedom. We want to have time freedom. And so we both have a goal ourselves of how much money we each want to bring to the table each year. And then eventually, once we have a family, Avery wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And so getting on board with and getting on the right page with how much money Bespoke Refinement brings to the table is really important, because eventually she's not going to want to work. So
there it is. And again, I'm telling you, folks, if you're out there today, I want to be very clear. Your wife to be wants to be a full-time mom. If you're out there today and you've ever been a mom or you know someone who is a mom, it is a full-time job. And if anybody who wants to be a full-time mom, I applaud that. If you want to be a full-time dad, whatever that looks like, but a business is just a vehicle to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. So box number 2, you got to figure out your break-even numbers. And for the sake of time we have today, we won't get into that too much, but you have to know how many sales you need to do to break even. Box number 3, if you read the book of Genesis or Exodus in this controversial book named the Bible, you'll discover that God set out the pattern that if you want to create like the Creator, you work 6 days and rest on the 7th. You observe the Sabbath. Now, if you're somebody who hasn't read the Bible, you probably don't know that in the book of Genesis and Exodus, God patterns the idea of working 6 days and resting on the 7th. If you were born after 1938, you've probably heard about the 40-hour work week, which was a concept introduced in 1938 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, an outspoken socialist, and his lesbian wife. So if you're out there today and you are familiar with the 40-hour work week, that's a socialist concept. But previous to 1938, everybody was focused on making their lives great by diligently working as unto the Lord. The Hebrew word for work means worship. The Hebrew word for work means worship. And did you know, folks, that in Hebrew, the word work means worship and worship means work? What? Think about it. Read it. Read the book of Genesis. You'll see it. So define how many hours per week you're willing to work. I mean, at this point, are you going 2 days a week? Are you trying to avoid burnout? Are you going, 10 minutes a day? How many hours a week are you working?
Right now, I'm working between 50 to 60. I was raised by a father who worked in the oil field, so he was working 7 days a week. He figured out how to work 8 days a week. So, because that's what I was raised on, I will go as long as I have to go, as hard as I have to go in the next 3 to 5 years so that I can build that time freedom. So for me, it's whatever needs to get done, and even with the tasks that we have with, our homework for the week, right? A lot of times if I'm working 7 days a week, working in the business, I have to find that time to work on the business. So if I work 12-hour days, 6 days a week, Sunday is spent getting Google reviews, doing all of the SEO stuff, working on all of the things, working on the business.
And again, I want to applaud the work you're doing. I don't want anyone to think this is a backhanded compliment. I wish more people would get interviewed before they become a super success. I wish more people would be interviewed en route to super success. Now, my thing is I know, and I'm not prophetic, I know which clients are going to become super successful. And you say, how do I know that? It's all about work ethic and the ability to diligently knock out action items. And I've seen Thomas do this over a period of time. So I know what we're watching here is a man on the verge of an explosive amount of success. And in case you missed it earlier, his online leads from Google, his internet leads, are up 24 times. Think about that. Okay, next, you got to nail down your unique value proposition. It's so important, everybody watching today's show, you figure out what you do uniquely. I mean, this just in. You're not the only guy in Kansas City that details cars, but what is it that you bring to the table at bespokerefinement.com that makes you different from your competition?
Well, number one, we're mobile. So we come to you. We come to your business. We come to your house. We'll come to your work. That's number one. Number two, we offer free added services. So like right now, all of our clients that book with us, if they have me come out and fix a scratch on their car, they're getting a free ceramic coating on their windshield. If I'm cleaning a stain on their seat, they're getting a free ceramic coating on their windshield. That's $100 value. I do it for free. I do that to try to hook the customer. So, but the primary thing is, Clay, we're mobile. So we come to you and we offer services that most mobile car washing companies don't offer, like paint correction, like ceramic coating. We do all of that in your garage. So you don't have to get your car dirty, bringing it home after having it detailed, like if you would at a shop.
Now, this guy's planning a wedding while building a business. I mean, I can give you all the reasons why he wouldn't be successful, why his life is too stressful to be successful, but he's finding time. Now, in part 2 of today's show, just to one-up today's guest, because we have to do that, I'm going to be interviewing a woman who has 7 kids, whose husband worked 80 hours a week. When I started with her over 6 years ago, her and her husband, they have 7 kids. Her husband had a job that required him to work 80 hours a week, 7 days a week, and she has grown her business by 400%, grown her business by 4 times on part 2 of today's show. Then on part 3 of today's show, just to one-up the person that's going to one-up Thomas, I'm interviewing a woman who went through a divorce and through the threshold of hell and reached out to us, and she's grown a bakery in Oregon amidst the lockdowns and the COVID-related lockdowns. So let's continue. This is so important for everybody out there. Take notes, dial in. You either become a victor or a victim. Decide right now, folks. Box number 5, improve your branding. This is what we do as a business coaching service. We do the photography, the videography, the web development, the search engine, videography, all these things. So this website here looks good, but it will always be getting better. Why? Because it's an iteration process. Could you talk about that? We have a weekly coaching meeting every single week, and every single week we're wanting to make it better. Every week we're trying to improve it. Every week we're trying to make the font better. We're trying to make the mobile version better. We're trying to add more photos to the gallery. We're adding more testimonials. Why do we have to iterate and make the website 1 or 2% better every single week, Thomas?
Because we're continuing to get clients that check the website more and more. We're continuing to get leads. And, it's kind of like going to the gym every day. If you go to the gym every day and you're constantly working your chest or your back or your arms, eventually you're going to have this perfectly sculpted body. If you go to the gym one time a week and you just do leg press, you're not going to look very well rounded. So the website to me is the exact same thing. You have to make sure that you're checking, what do the drop down screens look like? What do the backlinks look like? What do all of the booking options look like? The photos, all of that. I want it to look perfect. And one thing that I do is I talk to the customers that book with us online and I say, okay, what did you think of the website? I take constructive criticism. So I say, what do you think needs to change? And if I start hearing the same thing from 2 or more people, I take note of that, and those are things that we try to fix on the website.
Unbelievable, folks. I wish I could clone this guy. I mean, technically, I think we could clone this guy, but I think it'd be unethical, but we'll continue. So box number 5, the branding. We got your branding. Branding is just, what do people think of when they think about your business? When the people go to your website, folks, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your website right now on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Rate your business cards. Rate your own website. Rate your own business cards. Just this week in one of our businesses, there's a light that burned out at one of our businesses. So I have to go fix the lighting. Why? Because it sends a signal to the world that I don't care about the business if I don't fix the sign that's burnt out. These are just things you have to think about. The lobby, the decor, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the branding. Box number 6, marketing. This is something that a lot of people want to focus on. I would say 95% of entrepreneurs that reach out to me want to focus on this and this exclusively. You do not do that, but most entrepreneurs only want to talk about marketing. Marketing is, how do you generate leads in a sustainable way? Marketing is, how do you generate leads in a sustainable way, in a turnkey way, where your business will generate leads perpetually without you thinking about it? What are the 3 best ways for you to generate leads from your ideal and likely buyers in a sustainable way? Thomas, how much has it helped you knowing that you now have a turnkey marketing process in place where you don't have to think about, geez, I wonder if this ad will work. Oh boy, I wonder if this billboard would work. Oh, I have an idea. Why don't I do an advertisement in this magazine? Hey, I've got a good idea. Why don't I do a trade show? This just in, we could try this. Hey, let's make a series of TikTok videos. I know, let's make a reel. I know what we could do. How much has it helped you to just have a 3-legged marketing stool that you know is going to work?
It's like having a salesman that's working for me 24/7. It's amazing. Like, getting these leads in from Google because of the work that we're putting in on the back end that's just it. It's like having a salesman that's working 24/7. Getting phone calls at 8:00 at night, getting people that book with me at 3:00 in the morning. I love it. And it's made it to where I no longer have to stress about getting my next job, because before I was 100% word of mouth. And before it was like I would book a job and then I'd be halfway through it and I would be praying that I would have another job after that. So this is just like having a salesman working for me all the time.
Did you just say that before we started working together, your business was 100% word of mouth?
It was 100% word of mouth.
And see, folks, that's where like running a business becomes a spiritual experience that it shouldn't be. You shouldn't need to pray every night for leads. Leads should just come in there. I'm telling you. And this just in, kind of a sad thought, but it is a true thought. Many of the people that occupy the Forbes wealthiest Americans, the Forbes list of wealthiest people, almost all of them are not Christians. Why am I saying that? Because becoming financially successful has nothing to do with becoming spiritually successful. And I would argue oftentimes the two ideas can be antagonistic. If you're willing to exchange your soul to make a dollar, there's a million ways to do it. But if you're somebody who wants to not apologize for your belief in Christ and do a great job and make money, Thomas Thill is somebody you want to follow. And if you don't hate yourself, you want to go to that website right now, bespokerefinement.com. Now, if you do hate yourself, don't worry about it. But if you don't hate yourself, you want to help a friend. How do you help a friend? What you do right now is you go to bespokerefinement.com, you copy that website URL, and just post it on social media somewhere. And why am I saying that? Because when you share the URL to somebody's website, it helps make their website rank higher in the Google search results. That's why when articles are written about me in the Rolling Stone, that's why they can be so helpful or so harmful, because those links get shared in the air everywhere. So again, if you're listening to something and you're going, I want to see this young man be successful, go to bespokerefinement.com and share that link on your social media. Final 5 minutes we have here for you. You got to build a sales system. That's kind of where we're at right now. You and I are working together now. We're building a sales system that's call scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, packages, pricing. That's kind of where we're at right now. But over time, we're going to go from there. We're going to get into tracking how much money does it cost us to generate a new customer. We're going to build repeatable systems and processes so that people that are not you will be able to run the business. And to quote Warren Buffett, I'm not quoting myself, Warren Buffett has a quote. He talks about, and again, this is Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful people. He has a quote. He says, you want to build a business that's so good that even an idiot could run it, because someday an idiot will run it. Let me read the quote here. Warren Buffett says, I try to invest in businesses that are so wonderful that an idiot could run them, because sooner or later, an idiot will. I mean, this is some powerful stuff. So I encourage you, we're going to be doing this with Thomas over the coming months. We'll be having Thomas on for some updates. Box number 10, you got to create management systems. How do you hire? How do you inspire? How do you train? How do you retain? You know, just this week, a true story in one of my companies, I have an employee who lost their mind. I'll be vague about it. They've lost their mind. When I say lost their mind, they're going through a lot of life problems, and they presented them to me in the form of, I can't work this schedule at all. And I said, well, to work for me, you got to work this schedule because these are the hours that were open. They did not want to work those hours. And so they were like, well, if I can't work the hours I want, I can't work there. And I'm going, no problem. But the store hours don't change. And so by having systems in place, we were able to offer this person the opportunity to stick within our schedule or go somewhere else. But the business didn't stop because the systems were in place. Box number 12, you have to create a sustainable, repetitive weekly schedule. Box number 12, again, you got to create, or box number 11, you have to create a sustainable, repetitive weekly schedule. Box number 12, you've got to create a system for onboarding, hiring, inspiring humans on the planet Earth. This just in. Box number 13, you've got to create accounting systems and processes. And box 14, you got to design a life that you love. So you got to block out time for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, your F7 life. What? You got to design a life you love. So you got to carve out time to block out time for what matters, because what gets scheduled gets done. So you got to block out time for your faith, your family, your friendship, your fitness, your finances, your fun, your focus. Folks, marinate on it. Think about it. This could be you. So Thomas, still, I want to give you the final 60 seconds here. For anybody out there who has not experienced the business coaching services that I provide, what has the business coaching service meant to you, or how has it impacted your life thus far as you're building this business?
Best way I can describe it, you obviously hear the word coach. And I used to think that having a business coach was like, you know, you see on social media the guy who rents a supercar and he stands next to it and he's talking about his business coaching service and he's never owned a business. And I used to think that that's how they all were. And I was so wrong. It's literally like having someone in the back seat of my car that's constantly clapping for me, that's cheering me on, that's saying, hey, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get this? And I'm to a point now, like yesterday, I had this conversation with Avery, my fiance. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of work that I have coming in that I now have to get more structured with how I schedule my work. And that's something that 7-8 months ago, I didn't have that problem. 7-8 months ago, I had to figure out how I was going to find my next job. So this has gone so fast, and I cannot wait to see where this goes in the next year, 2-3 years. You are a partner for life with me and with Avery. Like, we're going to go through any business we ever start. You've proven to me that you're the master.
Well, this is interesting. I don't ever go to weddings, but I am going to your wedding. And my wife says, "Do you want to go to their wedding?" I go, "I do want to go to their wedding." And my wife says, "You want to go to a wedding? You haven't been to a wedding. Like, we've only been to we've been married 24 years. I think we've been to like 4 weddings. I just won't go to weddings." And I just won't. And she said, "You want to go to their wedding?" I said, "Yeah. These guys are good people. They're diligent people." In the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it says that a diligent man will stand before kings. Let me look it up. I never want to misquote the Bible, but it says a diligent man shall stand before kings. Where does it say that? In the Bible. What part of the Bible? Proverbs. Where in Proverbs? Proverbs 12:24 says, a diligent man will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. Let me try it again. The soul of the sluggard, this is Proverbs 13:4. The soul of a sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of a diligent man shall be fat. And it says a diligent man shall stand before kings. What am I saying? I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that reach out to me for help, but the diligence is in question. And I have to kind of coach that or teach that or try to inspire that. But that is not the case with you. You and your fiance are diligent doers. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? Question mark. He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men." And I'm just telling you, I'm not a prophetic person, but I'm telling you folks, you might have heard it here first right now. This is going to be a man who's going to have locations all over across the United States. He's going to start off locally, then he's going to grow regionally. It's going to be massive. I remember thinking the same thing when working with OxyFresh. By the way, OxyFresh.com now has over 500 locations. I remember thinking, wow, this brand is going to be nationwide, in the air, everywhere. Now they have 500 locations. I have the same feeling, the same energy, the same quantitative data that leads me to believe you are on the verge, folks, of watching our next super success story. Everybody out there, if you don't hate yourself, and I know you don't, go to bespokerefinement.com, bespokerefinement.com. And again, for anybody out there that wants to know, one final question. When we first started with you, how many leads were you getting from Google, and how many did you get last week? So when we first started with you on a weekly basis, how many leads were you getting from Google, and how many are you getting now?
I was at 0, didn't even have a website. And last week we got 24. And yesterday alone, I booked 4 jobs from Google. Just yesterday alone.
Bam! Hey, Thomas Still, thank you so much, brother. We'll talk to you on our weekly coaching call. Have a great day.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate you, man.
Bye-bye. How much growth have you had from since you and I first met to now, as a percentage or something?
Oh gosh, I'm guessing, but at least 400% since we started, and that was through COVID. Our sales are 4 times higher than they were since we started.
I just want people to reflect on that for a second, because I talk to people every day, Lindsay, who come into my place just like you do. People that come in, they're maybe not feeling healthy, and they come to you for treatments. People come into my life and they go, "My husband and I were contractors, we're dentists, we're doctors, we're lawyers." I just got off the phone with a lawyer he's a great lawyer. He went to college. He's checking all the boxes. He has the degree, no customers. What do you say? The guy, I just talked to a guy just a moment ago, and he's in a different state, and he's going, "I have the degrees. I've got the accolades. I've got the resumes. I don't have any customers." And you can tell he's right on the verge of a breakdown, in need of a breakthrough. What do you say to somebody who can kind of maybe feel like they're overwhelmed with this whole entrepreneurship thing?
I say it's doable. I have a husband that has a high demand career. He works 80 hours a week in the fall. We have 7 children together. They're all active in sports. So I know what a full plate looks like, and it's not impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur. You've got to follow the recipe. You may feel like Clay's given some advice that feels redundant, but it does work. And it doesn't require you to completely leave your other obligations alone. I'm at my kids' sports. I'm there for them on the weekends. I get them carpooled everywhere, and I still own a multi-million-dollar business.
Now I'm going to get into the details. I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying, but as I'm getting into the details, please understand, folks, everything I'm saying does not matter if you don't wow your customers, okay? So everything that I'm saying to you right now is predicated on the premise that you will wow your customers. Okay, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I am so fired up for you to meet 2 people. One, there is an unbelievable cheesecake business I work with based in Oregon, who's doubled her company in the last 12 months, and you're going to love the story. And the second business, actually the first one on today's show, we've had the opportunity to work with this wonderful company for years, and one half of the team behind the scenes that makes Revitalize Medical Spa happen is today's guest, Lindsay Blankenship. Welcome to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Hey, well, I'm going to pull up your website real quick because I want people to know that you're not a hologram and you're a real person. So Revitalize Medical, that's the business, revitalizemedicalspa.com. Tell us about the services that you guys provide there at revitalizemedicalspa.com.
Well, we provide all of your basic aesthetics like Botox and Juvederm fillers, all sorts of different brands of toxin fillers as well. And then we've added hormones, wellness, weight loss, peptides. That's kind of really the niche that I've sprung into that I just love and adore, and watching people feel better about themselves again and feeling like they're 20 again. So we do everything. We love women feeling like themselves again.
Let me ask you this. If we go back to when you were 20 again, did you want to run a medical spa when you were, and I know you're still 20, but did you have that vision when you were 19 that you wanted to run a medical spa, or how did you arrive into this wonderful, thriving business that you've built?
Well, I think it's a little bit of a God thing. I never wanted to be a business owner. I always wanted to be a doctor as a little girl. Discovered a PA school as an option that seemed to fit me better. And then I met another PA who is my business partner now, and we just decided to get trained in Botox together, do it on the side, and we treated people right, have great customer satisfaction, and so it just exploded into this huge business with 3 locations. So we couldn't be happier now, but neither one of us had the entrepreneurial dream when we were 20.
What is a PA? For people that don't know that language, that nomenclature, what does PA stand for?
PA is a physician assistant. So I describe it to my kids as kind of in between a nurse and a doctor. We can prescribe. We have much more privileges than an RN, but not quite as many as a full-fledged MD. We can't do surgery by ourselves, but we can do all the aesthetics and weight loss and wellness and take care of people. So that's who we are.
Now, for a lot of our listeners, we've got about 1 million people a week that will download the show. Obviously, there's some listeners that will listen to 2 shows and some listen to 1, but there's about 1 million people a week that will download this broadcast on the various channels. And a lot of them live right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some of them don't. For anybody who's in the Tulsa area, tell us about the services that you provide. Maybe kind of for anybody who's going, they're not at all familiar with your industry, or maybe who's your ideal and likely customer or buyer? Who's a good fit for you guys there at revitalizemedicalspa.com?
Well, we treat men and women, but mostly women. As you start to notice differences in aging, whether that's physically on your face or in your body or how you feel. So pretty much, 35 and up is kind of our prime market, but we do have some 20-year-olds, we have some 80-year-olds, but mostly that kind of mid-age mom that's not feeling like she used to and just wants to freshen up, like I said, on the outward appearance or from the internal aspect.
Now, I can say this, you and I have worked together long enough now. I think it's been about 5 years, and I know people that have gone to your facility that speak very highly of your facility. How did you originally come in contact with us and my team? Do you remember how that happened, or how did you initially come in contact with us?
I know it was Krista, my business partner. She's the other 50% of Revitalize. She had a connection, word of mouth. I think it was somebody that was elephant in the room connection, maybe. I don't know. It was
a haircut business. Okay.
Referral.
Yeah. And I just want to encourage somebody. There's somebody watching today's show and they feel like you. They feel like, wow, I'm a mom. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm a dad. I somehow have found myself being an entrepreneur. And you guys, over the past 5 years, you guys have had tremendous growth, and now you're opening up your 3rd location. So I've got a few questions here for you. One is, how much growth have you had since you and I first met to now, as maybe as a percentage or something?
Oh gosh, I'm guessing, but at least 400% since we started, and that was through COVID.
So you're saying, just to be clear, you're saying you're like you've grown 4 times larger than you were since you and I've met. That's a real.
Yes, our sales are 4 times higher than they were since we started.
I just want people to reflect on that for a second because I talk to people every day, Lindsay, who come into my place just like you do. People that come in, they're not maybe not feeling healthy, and they come to you for treatments. People come into my life and they go, "My husband and I were contractors, we're dentists, we're doctors, we're lawyers." I just got off the phone with a lawyer he's a great lawyer. He went to college. He's checking all the boxes. He has the degree. No customers. What do you say? The guy, I just talked to a guy just a moment ago, and he's in a different state, and he's going, "I have the degrees. I've got the accolades. I've got the resumes. I don't have any customers." And you can tell he's right on the verge of a breakdown, in need of a breakthrough. What do you say to somebody who can kind of maybe feel like they're overwhelmed with this whole entrepreneurship thing?
I say it's doable. I have a husband that has a high demand career. He works 80 hours a week in the fall. We have 7 children together. They're all active in sports. So I know what a full plate looks like, and it's not impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur. You've got to follow the recipe. You may feel like Clay's given some advice that feels redundant, but it does work. And it doesn't require you to completely leave your other obligations alone. I'm at my kids' sports. I'm there for them on the weekends. I get them carpooled everywhere, and I still own a multi-million-dollar business.
Now I'm going to get into the details. I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying, but as I'm getting into the details, please understand, folks, everything I'm saying does not matter if you don't wow your customers, okay? So everything that I'm saying to you right now is predicated on the premise that you will wow your customers. Every advice I'm giving you henceforth only works if you wow your customers. So step number one, you've got to be intentional about gathering testimonials from real customers that really like you. And I'm going to give you a backhanded compliment. You're like the best kept secret in Tulsa. You guys do such a great job, and customers love you, but it's not in your nature to, brag on yourself. And so the process of gathering actual testimonials from actual customers, that's been something you've learned to do. Could you talk about that for a second? Because before I met you, you were already wowing your customers. We needed to gather case studies and testimonials from real people. Could you talk about that?
Sure. Yes. Krista and I are medical people. We are not salespeople, and we hate asking people for things. But it works, and they're happy to do it if they love you. And if you treat people right, they love you. And sure enough, the majority of our referrals are from Google reviews or video testimonials, and they really don't mind helping you out when they love you. People love to talk about what they love. So
now tracking. Again, none of this matters if you don't wow your customers, which is what you do. You have to track. What we measure what we treasure. So your husband is in a profession where they track the amount of points that are scored. Anybody out there who watches sports, if you're watching a game that matters, they're keeping score. But for some reason in business, people don't track. They don't measure by default. Can you talk about the importance of measuring what you treasure, and you and your business partner diligently tracking the numbers every week?
I think what's helped us with tracking the most is encouraging each other when you feel like you're going through the motions and you're working your tail off and not realizing how much you're growing. The tracking is vital. Also seeing where our leads are coming from and knowing all this Google review stuff is actually working is vital. I think knowing where our money's going is important, and just kind of blindly doing it without knowing any of this is not helpful in your growth.
And working with you, one thing, just to be very transparent with our listeners, I charge you a flat monthly fee. You know what the fee is going to be every month. It's a flat monthly fee. That's how I work. But there's a lot of vendors, and I'm sure you've dealt with them in the past over these last few years, that if you're not careful, they're going to send you an invoice for something you didn't ask for. They're going to send you some. Just today, I got a massive invoice, over $5,000 from a vendor that I never agreed to. And it's usually in those professional services. It's normally in the legal and the accounting and the real estate. And they hit you with these fees. And if you're not careful, if you don't fight for your profitability, nobody will. Could you talk about that a little bit? Because, and again, we're flat rate. That's what we charge you. It's a flat rate. But I'm sure you've started to see vendors try to solicit invoices and charge you for things. Could you talk about that, about watching your numbers?
Absolutely. I think greed is so dangerous, and other people that claim to be helping you or contracting with you see your sales or see some very intimate information like your bookkeeping, and all of a sudden they think they deserve more, or a percent of your gross sales or whatnot. And so I think finding the right fit is super important. I think knowing the fees up front and making sure you're signing or not signing contracts is vital in especially as you grow, because people want a piece of your money.
Well, in the final 5 minutes I've got you here today, I want to ask you this here. For anybody out there that hasn't been to one of my conferences before or hasn't worked with us before, I always hear horror stories as recently as just a moment ago from this attorney. And he's like, I went to this guy's conference. Next thing you know, it's like $7,000 a month once you add up all the fees. And it's just this crazy contract I found myself in. And he was struggling to even grasp the idea that we do month to month and it's flat rate. And he's like, well, how long do you work with your clients? And I'm going, well, the average client's usually with us until they sell the brand. I mean, 6 years or 7 years, or I don't know. I mean, OxyFresh has been 18 years. Could you talk about the impact it's made on your business, knowing that, that we're a flat rate and you don't have to think about all the stuff we do in the background for you?
Yes, it's super important. And I think when we do analyze our tracking and our costs and where we can cut costs, our business coach is never on the table as far as that goes, because we know it's a flat rate. You're not going to hike up prices on us. And all the recipe you've given us for success is working. So, and just the accountability, like we would probably slack a little bit on those video testimonials if you weren't at us weekly about it. But I think it's important and it's invaluable, the price you pay.
Now, I have two final questions for you. You have a great team. For anybody out there, if you haven't been to the website, I encourage everybody out there. This is a pro tip for everybody out there. If you're watching today's show and you go to revitalizemedicalspa.com, just that traffic helps increase the rank of someone's website. So if you want to help your friends, go to their websites. It helps increase their rank in the search engine. So I encourage everybody, no matter where you're watching from, go to revitalizemedicalspa.com. But when we go to your website, you have a great team. And that's why I try not to tell, my wife is a cheerleading mother. We have kids in cheerleading, and I try not to tell anybody at all that I work with you. I watch it happen, and I hear people all the time brag about, oh my gosh, that's the place to go. They're awesome. They're great. But you have great people. You have great people. Could you talk about why you're so intentional about who you hire there at your business?
Yes. I think we had to learn the hard way. We hired some bad apples to finally find the good apples. Our team is amazing. You've got to find like-minded people. I think our patients too make the business. I think we've learned to be picky with who our market is, and some people want a look that we don't want to give. And so we tell them, and we're not scared to turn away clients and say, we're probably not your best fit. So that helps a lot, finding your ideal and likely market and being specific with that and picky. And same with your employees. That's so important. Don't settle. Don't ever settle, because it'll bite you in the butt.
Now, my final question I have here for you, I'm pulling it up right now, and I'm going to show you some data. You're a smart woman. You're an analytical person. You look at things. So I'm not assuming you just to blindly believe these numbers. But this is the U.S. debt clock. This is the website that tracks the national debt. And you might see people post about this. And we're going to try not to focus on these numbers, but I want to zoom in on one number in particular. In a country of 341 million people, Americans, we only have 8.9 million self-employed people. Now, just to give you some background on this, folks, just some perspective, if 10% of our population was self-employed, we would have 34 million self-employed people, but we don't. And so if 3% of our population was self-employed, we would have 9 million self-employed people-ish, but we don't. Folks, we are talking about, we only have, 2%-ish of the American population that is self-employed. And then according to Inc. magazine, this is going to blow someone's mind here. According to Inc. magazine, and the U.S. Chamber has their own studies too, but 96% of businesses fail. Think about that. I mean, by default, most people have no idea where they're going. And by default, they fail. So as you are triumphantly opening up your third location, can you talk about just the peace of mind you have knowing that you're following a proven plan? Because everybody else by default seems to be guessing and failing. And you guys are following this plan. You're doing it week after week. Now you're opening up the third location. Can you talk about just maybe the peace of mind you feel following a proven plan?
It's worked. It's worked, through 3 locations, and we're about to move into this brand new building for our third location. And because it's worked historically in the past, we just trust it's going to keep working. We always, at the end of the year, when we're looking at our total sales it always blows us out of the water. It's way over what we predicted or shot for, and it's because we follow the process. We do the work, and it works.
Now, I'm not going to mention your husband, what he does, but I'm just going to say this. You guys are great people. I think your husband is first class. I think you're great. You and one of my clients in Oklahoma City are the only people that I know who have 7 kids. I have 5 kids. I've read stories about people that have more than 6 kids, but you guys have 7 kids. You're doing it. Everybody out there, I'm telling you, if Lindsay can find time to do it, you can do it too. Lindsay, the final 30 seconds, I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to everybody out there who's watching today's show, maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, struggling to find the time to do it? You're doing it. What would you say to anybody out there watching?
Well, thank you, first of all. I think I'm my husband's biggest fan too, and he's awesome. My biggest advice is don't give up. You can do it one day at a time, one step at a time. Again, I work 28 hours a week now, and I have 7 kids and this multi-million-dollar business that we just keep opening more locations, and it's doable. We do the hard work. We don't slack off in any department, but it's worth it. And I wouldn't trade being my own boss for anything in the world.
Well, it's an absolute honor to serve you, and I appreciate you carving out time. And just so people know, you're having massive success. I called Lindsay. I said, is there any way you could hop on the show to encourage some of our listeners? She did not call me. She's a very humble person behind the scenes. And I appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone to be here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%. I would say 2 things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want.
If your mom has a sweet tooth, you might want to listen up. We recently talked to an Albany-based cheesecake company led by a mom with an inspirational story and some delicious decadent cakes. Check it out. I'm joined now by the owners of Beloved Cheesecakes, Jen Jacobson-Brusa and Gabe Jacobson. Thank you both for coming on. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you so much.
Folks, on today's show, we have the pleasure, the honor to be joined with a real longtime client of mine, a wonderful lady. She's built a wonderful business called BelovedCheesecakes.com. Jen, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Clay.
Hey, I was good. The reason why I wanted to interview you on today's show is that at the conference we did, the last conference we did, you came up for a while. We had you do kind of a question and answer session. And we had one particular conference attendee that was telling me they were very inspired by the fact that you are just on your grind. You're implementing these action items. And they were saying that they felt through hearing you talk about how you were embracing the grind and diligently implementing the action steps that we'd been coaching you through, it inspired them that they too could do it. So I wanted to ask you first, how did you originally hear about us or the coaching program that we offer here at the Thrivetime Show?
My first time hearing about you was at the Reawaken America Tour in Oregon of 2022.
Okay. And you know, we've worked with you since that time, and it's been really spectacular to watch you grow your business. For the listeners out there that aren't familiar, I'm going to pull up your website. It's belovedcheesecakes.com, belovedcheesecakes.com. Tell us about the business, how many locations you have, and just kind of give us a little bit of familiarity into your business there.
Yeah, so I started Beloved Cheesecakes 5.5 years ago as brick and mortar in a small town, Silverton, Oregon. And that was 8 months before the lockdown. And anyways, end up having you come on board, and we've been growing. We now have 2 brick and mortar locations, have an online presence, and now I'm in a prestigious, like, bougie grocery store and 20 different restaurants and growing.
So let's talk about it real quick here. Jack Welch, the CEO of GE, and I'm not trying to paint you into a corner, and I don't expect you to be a Jack Welch expert, but he did grow GE by 4,000%. He's also the best-selling author of a book called Winning. He wrote the following quote. He said, "You've got to eat while you dream. You've got to deliver on short-range commitments while you develop a long-term strategy and vision and implement it. The success of doing both. walking and chewing gum, if you will. Get it done in the short range while delivering a long range plan and executing on that. Man, I wish more entrepreneurs could hear that quote and understand it as it relates to your business and as it relates to you being a coaching client of ours. Talk to us about the balance between having the big vision of where you're going and then also needing to answer the door when a new customer comes in, shipping the cheesecakes out, hiring staff. Talk to us about the balance of thinking about your long-term vision and also your short-term daily demands.
Yes. Well, what I've learned from you and the business conference is how important it is to have a schedule. And if you don't have a schedule, your schedule is going to run you, having your to-do list. And that's what it is. It's not, I in the past have been easily distracted with the busy things, and I have to stay focused. I've learned that from you as well. There's so much I've learned from you, but just today I'm having to work the front. I'm dealing with customers, but I'm also having to make sure that we have everything taken care of for next week and have our, inventory and supplies and all that ready for next week. So it's just staying on task, not getting sidetracked, and being able to say, I just had customers come in and they know me and they're like, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you forever." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I have a call I have to take," so it's just staying on task.
Now, I'm going to pull up I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like being an entrepreneur. So I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to walk people through this path that we're guiding you down, the path that you're going down, and the path that's producing success for you. First off, you have to know your goals. Jen, 90 miles an hour. Why do you have to know your goals as an entrepreneur every single day?
Well, if you don't have your goals, then what are you shooting for? It's like I've never been a basketball player, but you're not making the shot. You're just like throwing the ball and just hope it goes wherever. So you've got to know where you're shooting and have your goals for that.
Now, I'm not fishing around for you to tell me the answer on this, but I want the listeners to know, your break-even point. You have to know how many customers you need just to break even. Maybe it's not the most fun to think about that, but every entrepreneur needs to know the numbers. Box number 3, you have to know how many hours you're willing to work. And you're somebody who will outwork almost anybody. You are a very hard worker, a diligent worker. You're also a business owner. You're also a mom. Let's talk about that because the Bible in Genesis and Exodus, it talks about working 6 days a week and resting on the 7th. I think most Americans today don't work more than 40 hours a week. Let's talk about the grind.
It's real, we now are in this bougie market called Zupan's Market here in the Portland area, and we have to deliver to them. So we have to be up at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesdays and be delivering. And then Wednesday we had an event that started at 5. It went until 10 at night. So we didn't get home until 11:30. And that's just what you have to do. You have to keep digging the ditch. I know it won't be like this forever, but right now you just have to keep doing it.
Now, the next box, and I want to brag on you for this. A lot of clients come to me and they say, "Hey, I don't really have a unique value proposition." You guys had already, box number 4, had already established step number 4, a unique value proposition. Beloved Cheesecakes, you had already developed the flavors, the product, a great dessert item. I didn't need to help you with any of that. You'd already had that in place. I think the one thing we had to work together on, though, was to gather objective reviews from happy customers. So now when people go to belovedcheesecakes.com, we've got a large variety of happy client testimonials, objective reviews on Google, video reviews, and you can't fake that stuff. Can you talk about the importance of A, having a unique value proposition, and then B, gathering reviews from real people so that other people know about your unique value proposition?
Well, definitely. We have an amazing product that we're consistent. It's high quality. We have our no-brainer, which is free cheesecake samples. And I try to tell a lot of my business friends, offer something for free, or, like how you do $1 for your first month of coaching. And then what was the second part of the question?
No, I'm sorry to do a 2-part question, but one is you already had a great product, but I think one thing you and I've worked on together is making sure that the world knows it's great by gathering objective reviews. And before I met you, I think you had people loved the product, but there wasn't a lot of online evidence that people did.
No, there wasn't. And I'm going to be honest, the first month coaching with you, I thought this is so dumb. Why am I focusing on Google reviews? But I'm so glad that I focused on it. We've got amazing reviews, and it does make a difference. It keeps us up in the algorithm. It keeps us up on, people find us all the time through Google searching for best dessert or cheesecake. And then it's you want real experience. You want people to actually share and not be fake. So I look at reviews.
Now, since you and I have met, have you noticed an increase in the amount of online traffic or online orders or online purchases? Because again, you already had a great product before you and I met. And have you seen an increased amount of online traffic?
Oh, 100%. Increase in online traffic, increase in walk-ins. I mean, it's everything that I've implemented. Having you as a coach, if I wasn't doing the action steps that you share with us, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I mean, I think of myself without you in my life, and there's no way. I would not have known about the Dream 100. I wouldn't have known about the Google reviews, the images, the SEO, the more images, more reviews. I wouldn't.
And you're into what's so fun, and why I called you today. I said we have to get you on the show. Is here we had an entrepreneur you've never met before, and I won't mention his name, but he was coming to our conference, almost depressed about where he was at with his life and his business. And he came to the conference because his family is so successful. So his family said, look here, buddy, you should come to this conference. And so he is a member of the same family, a different business. And he's like, wow, my family's having success. There must be something wrong with me. I don't know why I'm not having success. And when you came up and had the courage to just share about, wow, this is a grind, it inspired him to take action, and it's been unbelievable the success it's had on him. Box number 5, branding. You guys have great branding. Everybody out there, if you want to see great branding, go to belovedcheesecakes.com, order a cheesecake, and you're going to see great branding. I'm talking about the packaging, the way the product shows up, the way the product tastes, the follow-up process, the way you call consumers if they have questions. Branding is a big thing. Branding is what consumers think about when they think about your business. Can you talk about the importance of being intentional about your branding?
We are very intentional with our branding. So, we are all about having a high quality, consistent product and giving excellent customer service. So we do a handwritten note with every cheesecake that is shipped. We call our orders. I mean, that's kind of a dinosaur age of people calling on the phone nowadays, but we call and thank them for their order, verify it, confirm it. And that's what we want to be branded for, is having exceptional customer service and exceptional product. And just even coming in, like going to your conference, I can try to tell everyone to go to the conference, but you have to go and experience it. And it's the same thing with Beloved Cheesecakes. I can tell you all about it. You can experience the taste of it, but it's different when you actually come in our building. And that's another exceptional brand that we have. We have signs all over the walls, and that's our branding inspiration.
Now, the final 5 minutes we have you here, again, we're going to go 90 miles an hour because that's the way entrepreneurs go. You broke away from your very busy day to do this interview, and I appreciate you doing that. A three-legged marketing stool, you have to have a consistent, turnkey, repeatable way to get customers. Now, in your business, we do the Dream 100, where we reach out to our ideal and likely buyers, and we let people know about the product, aka the gourmet grocery store, podcasters, influencers, that kind of thing. The second leg is we gather objective reviews from happy consumers, and we also write search engine content to come up top. So leg number 1 is Dream 100 marketing. Leg number 2 is online marketing. And leg number 3 is signs and wonders. You have compelling locations. You put up signage that makes sense. You're always offering the consumer a no-brainer offer for first-time customers. Can you talk about the mental stress that has gone away by knowing that you have a three-legged marketing stool of things that work? Because so many of my coaching clients tell me, they say, Clay, before we started working with you, we were trying everything and we didn't know what would work. And now we've got 3 things that do work. Could you talk about that, the importance of having a three-legged marketing stool in place?
Yeah, well, I think it does, because when you're hit as a small business owner, you have the people that have magazines, and they want you to be in their ad, or your radio stations. And, before I knew you, I was investing and bleeding with these radio ads and magazines. And, it's very simple. We have our Google reviews, we have signage, we have the SEO, we have all of these things, and we track how we ask every single person how they hear about us. And so we have a spreadsheet, and we're able to keep track of how people are hearing about us. And so we can see where our marketing dollars are of value. And we have returning customers, and so many people come in because they see the signs and then the Google reviews, so it is important, and it's simple. We make it so much harder by, doing all the other fluff, I guess. And
now,
yeah.
I don't want to paint you to a corner. I'm not looking for a hard number. I'm just trying to build somebody's encouragement. They can do it. If you had to think back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, in terms of the amount of online business you're generating now, people that find you from the internet, whether it be locally or online from out of state, how much kind of an increase do you think you've seen in online or traffic that's generated from search engine optimization, that kind of thing, than maybe 2 years ago?
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%.
It's so great. If you're out there, folks, I get emotional, coughing it up here, allergies. No, but if you look up Jen and her business, you are a very approachable, very normal person, but you're in the grind. And so my final two questions I have for you. Question one, what do you say to any entrepreneur out there that's stuck? They feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much that I need to do. And and in this case, this young man came to a conference and his own family's there with him. He's feeling like he's not keeping up, like he doesn't have what it takes. And your message encouraged him so much. He felt like he could do it. What do you say to somebody out there that feels kind of stuck?
Well, I would say two things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want. And then also, we do here at Beloved Cheesecakes, we have our to-do list, but we've taken 6 of the to-do list items, 7 of them, make them our priority for the day, and at least to check off those 7 items, or 7 items a day. So that way you are doing a little bit every day and you're seeing a dent in your to-do list as it keeps growing.
Now, final question I have here, and I know you have to get back to your shop because it's a very busy day there at belovedcheesecakes.com. A lot of our listeners, they look for a great gift idea. They want to get their spouse something for maybe an anniversary. Somebody's dating somebody. They're looking for a gift. Maybe they're going to take a gift to a family member. Maybe it's a birthday, Valentine's, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever the holiday is. And I encourage everybody out there to check out your products. But what should everybody check out if they have yet to experience belovedcheesecakes.com?
I would say check out our mini cheesecakes. You can get those. They're 4-inch cheesecakes, and you can pick up to 4 kinds. That's our ultimate sampler. You could do that. But yeah, we have Easter coming up. We have Mother's Day. We have graduations, all of those things coming up. And, it does make such a unique gift to give to someone that has everything. So,
Jen, thank you so much for your courage, A, to come up at the conference and share your story. I'd encourage so many people. And B, thank you for carving out time amidst your very busy day to be on the Thrivetime show today. I encourage everyone to go to belovedcheesecakes.com. That's plural, Beloved Cheesecakes with an S, belovedcheesecakes.com. Jen, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Clay. You have a great day too.
Bye-bye.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening on June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, real clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, you know, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad, and like it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, you know, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
Yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And you did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I'll tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing, and Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D. Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school, I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing. I'm business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. And my rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.